User persona are those users that has goals and characteristics represent the need of a larger group of users. It includes behavior patterns, goals, skills, attitudes, and other background information, as well as the environments in which a persona operates. Designers usually create user persona templates, which include a few fictional persona details to make the person a realistic character. Creator creates user personas as part of user experience design. They help us understand a typical user's needs and desires, which in turn helps us build more successful products and solutions. It doesn't matter if you are developing a website, designing a new smartphone, or building a new supercar or sports car. You need to understand who will be using your product. You need to understand what problems your users have and plan your product to solve those issues. Alternatively, you can find out what your users design, what their emotional drivers are, and target those as features of your product. Either way, you have to know what will influence and motivate your users. Personas provide the information to help us understand this. User personas are important in helping you design your product to meet the needs of your users. They are fictitious characters used to represent a real target audience. They are used to summarize and communicate research about that specific audience in a succinct and digestible way. A user persona will have a set of real-world and relevant data associated with it, such as age, gender, job type, family, marital status, financial status, personality traits, motivations, goals, and more. Although they are hypothetical, the attributes of a persona should be based on real-world data in order to accurately reflect the thoughts, feelings, and intent of that audience.
What does it mean to create a persona? Personas are fictional characters which you create based upon your research in order to present different user types that might use your service, product, site, or brand in a similar way. When creating a persona, pipiliin natin yung bagay na kayang i-present yung business na target natin. Sino ba yung mga consumer na yun? Ano ba yung mga needs nila? For example is the Jollibee. Ang ginamit nilang persona is B, which one of their target consumers kids. Na-attract yung mga bata dun sa persona na ginamit nila, especially when they using mascot just to take a picture of that persona. Consumer like kids with their parents is going to that specific restaurant.
Next bullet, creating persona helps designer to understand user needs, experiences, and behavioral and goals. Using a specific persona to represent your business, for example, mas maintindihan ng consumer mo if your persona use the same design as your business. Like pizza, they use pizza persona to represent their business, which pure na pizza ang binebenta.
My name is Jim Domingo Dela Cruz, and this is my part of the report, which is there are ways to create a persona. Collecting information should be the first priority when you are creating a persona. Like for example are conducting interviews and taking advantage of other data source. Okay, so next is segment your audience. Okay, so you need to analyze the research data that you have collected. Next is decide on the layout. In creating a persona, there are different layout that it depends on the persona's type and purpose. Decide demographic information. It is critical in some cases, but because of the UX pressure, it can help you generate names and photos for your personas. Next, we have the define personas goals. You need to write down everything you know about your persona's background, but avoid unnecessary informations that may cause cluttering. Next is define motivations and frustrations. Because in finding what motivates and frustrates you must include in persona. Lastly, create your own persona. Apply all the ways that I said in creating a persona.
Good day, I'm John Paul Lintao. Defining goals of persona, according to Lynn Yelsen, describes the main focus of what our typical user wants to do with your product. The objective of this kind of persona is to examine the process and workflow that our users would prefer to utilize to achieve the objectives when interacting with your product or services. Before you create a persona, conduct a plenty of research to make sure your personas accurately represent your research. User personas help a product team find the answer to one of their most important questions: who are we designing for? Understanding the expectation, concerns, and motivation of target users. It is possible to design a product that will satisfy users' need and therefore be successful. The purpose of engaging a persona description is to avoid seeing users as a stereotype from designers. The persona description balances data and knowledge about real application and fictitious information intended to evoke empathy.
Good day everyone, my name is Angelo Ariola from BS83 BBPO. Before you create a persona, conduct a plenty of research to make sure your personas accurately represent your research. Halimbawa, may project kayo sa kumpanya nyo, bago nyo gawin, kailangan nyo munang pag-aralan kung ano yung mga kailangan gamitin o dapat gawin para mapagtagumpayan.
User personas help a product team find the answer to one of their most important questions: who are we designing for? Understanding the expectation, concerns, and motivation of target users, it is possible to design a product that will satisfy users' needs and therefore be successful. In short, user personas help developers build better product in a number of ways, but primarily, these personas allow a product teams to feel empathy for the user. In turn of empathy, guide the team's important product decision that those users will have to live with.
User interface patterns. UI design patterns are reusable, recurring components which designer use to solve common problems in user interface design. So, ang user interface design pattern ay very reusable. Ginagamit ito ng mga designers para malutas yung mga karaniwang problema sa mga user interface design. They help us to avoid reinventing the wheel and make designing a reliable solution to an interface design problem a lot faster. Mas nakakatulong ito upang ma-avoid ang paulit-ulit na pag-reinvent o imbento. At mas pinapabilis pa ang pagbibigay ng solutions sa mga problema sa interface design.
Importance of interface patterns. They are visual strategy for quickly solving common UI design problems and also provide a common language for designer which keeps misunderstanding to a minimum and establishes consistency when multiple designers are working on the same project. They are also important when it comes to user retention. The reason that so many apps and websites feel so easy to navigate to is because of common UI design patterns. Could you imagine that log into a website that don't have navigation bar or any clear buttons? Confusing, right? When users become used to seeing specific patterns, any change to those patterns could result losing on the same case leads and conversions. UI design patterns keep the cognitive load to minimum by making interface feel intuitive. So, mas madali daw yung may mga button compare dun sa wala. Kasi nasanay tayo dun sa mga common UI na gaya na lang ng homepage, ganun, back. Kung wala yung mga yun, hindi mo makakolubit yung mapapasok yung isang app or isang website kung wala yung mga navigation bar. So mas maganda yung meron yung navigation bar.